Welcome to the Best Gambling Show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 8 over and under picks now up. Let's get this money. Week 8, first game, Thursday night. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Buffalo Bills. Over, under 43. I'm going under. And listen, this is a no bet from me. And I know some of these idiots are going to get on here and say, Lawson, you were wrong about it. Listen, I've been killing Thursday night all year. But I tell you guys not to bet this. This game, you just don't know if the Bills are going to find rhythm offensively. Like, who would have thought the Bills offense would struggle against the Pats defense that has been getting beaten down every week? Who would have thought? And with the Thursday night games, you know teams come in injured, battered, and without enough preparation time. This Tampa Bay defense can play. I'm going under. Also, Baker Mayfield, he's not playing good, man. And I tried to tell that to you guys last week. It's just not good enough. I'm going under the 43. It's extremely low for a Bills game, but it's Thursday night. Next game, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Indianapolis Colts. Over, under 43 and a half. Money, money, money. Money. I'm going under. And I'm fading Gardner Minshew. I'm fading everything the Colts did last week against the Browns. Listen, we got to give them a round of applause. I'm not trying to take away any credit, but I do think that was an aberration. And now you got the Saints defense coming into town. And listen, the Saints season's on the line. It's do or die at this point. And I think the Saints defense responds. I think they cover up the bad wide receivers the Colts have. And I just don't think there's an awful lot of places to go for Minshew. On the other side, listen, I think the Saints offense will play better. I do. I don't know if we have any evidence, but I do think they play better. I'm just not sold on Pete Carmichael as offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be a lot of stuff underneath. The Saints will get to 20, 24 points. But outside of that, I don't see them going over. So I'm going under the 43 and a half. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Jacksonville Jags at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over, under 42. I'm going over. There's very little science here. I just think this Jags offense can take advantage of a Steelers secondary that has struggled this year. And I know Mike Tomlin has been pulling out rabbits out of the hat. I know it's been magic. We got to give him credit. But we got to look at what dogs are going up against the other dogs. And I just think the Jags wide receivers win more battles. Also, it does seem like this Jags defense, like they sleep on the job, man. And I do think the Steelers can manufacture 17, 20 points here. That's why I'm going over the 42. Please do not bet this. I know a lot of the bets are going to be under, but please do not bet this. Next game, we're going to the NFC East. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington No Names. Over, under 43 and a half. I'm going under. And this is about Sam Howell, man. And I know the first game went over by a lot, and I'm just not sold on what Sam Howell's doing. I'm also not sold on this Washington no-names offensive line. I just don't see them blocking Jalen Carter. I don't see them blocking this Philadelphia Eagles front. So I think it's going to be an absolute slaughter at the line of scrimmage. And I don't think any quarterback in this league has taken more sacks than Sam Howell. On the other side of the ball, listen, we know this Washington defense has some dogs, and we know know they can play, and we know the Philadelphia offense hasn't reached full mode yet. They haven't played their best, and I don't know if they're going to play their best, to be honest. I think the Washington gets stops. I think the Eagles get stops. I'm going under the 43.5. Next game, we got the Houston Texans. Stroud at the Carolina Panthers. Over, under 43.5. I'm going over. And this one was a tough call. But I think the Carolina offense will show something with a different play caller. I'm not saying like the Carolina is going to be putting up 50 or 40 points or be a good offense or any of that. But I think they actually put in a competitive performance. But this Carolina Panther defense is walking wounded, and I think C.J. Stroud is going to absolutely demoralize them and tear them up. I think the Texans get to 30. That's enough to push it over the 43.5. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. Them boys, over, under 45.5. I'm going under. I'm worried about both of these teams in situational football. I'm worried about the Rams in the red zone. I'm worried about the Cowboys in the red zone. I'm worried about McVay's play calls. I'm worried about Mike McCarthy's decisions on 4th and 1. And when you look at these two teams, they just seem to not impress on offense. Have we seen close to their best? Have we seen Cooper Kupp utilized right? Have we seen Dak Prescott play a good game so far? The answer to all those questions is no. I'm going under the 45.5. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Arizona Cardinals. Over, under 44. Money. I'm going over. Make it a damn money pick. It seems like every game the Cardinals are involved in, it's a money pick to go over. And this Cardinals defense is fighting, but they just don't have enough horses. And we know this Ravens offense is playing at a high frame rate. And I think they run all over the Cardinals defense. On the other side, man, I think the Cardinals have enough creativity to get to 17, 20 points, and that's going to be enough to push it over. It seems like every game, that the onlookers, the public bettors, they think the Cardinals games go under, but every single time we sit here, we pound over, and it seems to work itself towards over. I'm going over the 44, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the New York Jets at the New York Giants. Over, under 36.5. I mean, we got some preseason numbers here. I mean, these are preseason numbers no matter which way you frame it. I'm looking at this game and I'm saying, how can the Giants offensive line block the Jets defensive line? That's the big criteria why I'm going under here. And we have to give the Giants defense a little bit of credit. They've been playing really good football these last 3 weeks, and it's not a tough nut to crack when you're going up against Zach Wilson. I think the Giants defense has a good game. I think the Jets defense has a good game. I'm going under the 36.5. Just be careful with this because we know this is about as low as it gets unless you get a snowstorm or tornado whipping in a regular season game. Next game, we got the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Over, under 46.5. I'm going over. I think the Dolphins get to 30. And I think that's enough to push it over. I think this Patriots defense, they did have themselves a little bit of a renaissance these last 2 weeks. But can we look at this Raiders offense? Can we look at this Bills offense and can we be a little bit diplomatic here and just say, man, like, I don't think those two offenses are a good example. This Miami team, every time they're beaten down, they bounce back and they put up points and they seem to get into the 30s. Miami gets to the 30s here, but also this Miami defense has been disappointing this year. It has, and I know Mac Jones has been disappointing, and we can go on about that for 3 or 4 hours, but I think the Patriots are able to manufacture points. I think it's like a 17, 20-point put up for the Patriots. I think the Dolphins get to 34. I actually really like the over here. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Tennessee Titans. Over, under 35.5. I'm going under. And I don't trust Will Levis at quarterback. And if Malik Willis comes in, I don't trust him either. And people are sleeping on how good this Atlanta defense has been. They had one sloppy game against the Packers, but outside of that, they've been absolutely brilliant. And you can't run the ball against them. When you look at Grady Jarrett, when you look at Calais Campbell, I'm just not seeing a lot of running lanes for King Henry. I'm also not buying these trade rumors about King Henry going to the Ravens. I think that's a load of baloney, and if you fall for that, you're an idiot. I just don't think the Titans run the ball. Also, this Falcons offense, they're going to get 400 yards, but they're going to fumble it 2 times and throw another 2 interceptions. That is the problem with the Falcons. I'm going under the 35.5. Just be careful with this because it's extremely low for an NFL ball game. Next game, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Over, under 42.5. I'm going over. And I think this Vikings offense has a pretty good day. I'm not saying they're going to dominate. I'm not saying they're going to run the rock for 200 yards like other teams have done against the Packers. But I do think the Vikings move the ball. But I also think the Packers come to play this game. I think the Packers have a better plan than they had the 3 weeks previous. And this Brian Flores defense, they will make big plays. They will get stops. But I see both teams getting into the 20s. And like I said, man, when you look at the Packers, I always look at their defensive front 7. They look great on paper. They look great when you pop Madden in. But can they ever stop the run? Can they ever get 4 or 5 sacks in the game? They can't, and that means the Vikings get to 27 points. I'm going over the 42.5. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears. The Bears at the Los Angeles Chargers. Over, under 46.5. Money, money, money. Money. I'm going under. And I've been so disappointed with the Chargers this year. I knew what we were getting into this year with the Chargers. I knew Brandon Staley would be a liability. I didn't think Kellen Moore would improve the offense. And once Mike Williams has went down, we've just seen a different Justin Herbert. And I think this Bears defense comes out and plays hard. And we have seen this Bears defense respond the last 3-4 weeks since that Kansas City game. I just can't see the Chargers getting to the 30s here. On the other side of the ball, we got a Bears offense with Badgett and Nathan Peterman. And we know what that entails. It entails a lot of 3 and outs. It entails a struggle session, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to throw the ball. There's just no evidence of that, and this Chargers defense has been playing better. I think this is the money pick of the week when you look at the over-unders. I'm going under the 46.5. This is going to be an ugly game to watch, but that's why you bet the under, right? Making a money pick. Next game, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. Over, under 46. I'm going over. There is no science here. I mean, who would have thought the first game would be 19-8 or whatever that finished? Who would have thought? I do think the Chiefs offense has a good day. but I also think the Broncos offense plays a little bit better than the previous meeting. I mean, there is no science here. If you bet this, you are a full-blooded degenerate, and I have love for you. And there's just not a lot of opinion on this game. Even when you look at the spread, does anyone really want to touch this spread? I know some people were saying, Lawson, you missed this game on Tuesday spread picks. Like, listen, are we really missing something? Are we really missing something? I'm going over the 46, but please do not bet this one. Next game, we got the Cleveland Browns at Seattle Seahawks. Over, under 38. I'm going over. A surprise over. Now, I think this Browns defense has a great day, man. Like, I don't think they're giving up 33 or 30 like they did against the Colts. But I do think this Browns defense will be able to force turnovers. And I do think the Browns offense will be able to run the ball. Like, I see like a 2017 game. I see the Browns being able to force 3 or 4 turnovers on Geno Smith. I am worried about Geno Smith, man. And actually, to correct what I said, like, I see like a 24-20 game, and that's why I have it going over. I'm worried about Geno Smith. I'm worried about some of the play calling on the Seahawks offense. I know a lot of people do not watch them closely, but I watch every single snap, and I just haven't been impressed. So I think the Browns defense is able to get the takeaways, and also when you look at this, I think the Browns offense is running better with P.J. Walker than it's running with Deshaun Watson. You could call me crazy, you could call me stupid, but that's what I'm going with. I'm going over the 38. Next game, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the San Francisco 49ers. Over, under 43.5. I have this going just barely over. I think the Bengals are able to get some big plays. When you look at the 49ers against elite quarterbacks, they like to come up, they like to play press coverage, and the way to beat them is you have to throw it deep, and I think Burrow is finally healthy, and I think the Bengals are set up to do that. On the other side of the football, I do think Purdy has a bounce-back day. Listen, I love this Bengals defense. I love them from an effort perspective, but they do have some holes, and they really are missing some pieces in the secondary. I think Purdy has a bounce-back day. I think the 49ers are able to run the rock better than against the Vikings. So with all that coming into an avalanche, I'm going over the 43.5. Not a money pick, but I really like it. Next game, we got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Detroit Lions. Over, under 45.5. Money. I'm going under. And it's because the way the Lions approach games. Like, look at how they approached the Carolina game. Look at how they approached the Atlanta game. Look at how they approached the Packers game. When the Lions get the lead, they tend to let up. They run the ball up the middle. They're satisfied with kicking field goals. But I think the big matchup this game and why it's a money pick is this Detroit defense. They were absolutely embarrassed last week in Baltimore against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Embarrassed is maybe too soft a word. I think this Lions defense comes back fighting and throwing haymakers. I think they match up really good against the Raiders. And when you look at the Raiders, listen, you're going to get a backup quarterback or you're going to get Jimmy G limping in there with a back injury. I just don't see more than 13, 17 points for the Raiders. And we know the Lions aren't going to show anything. If they get up 17 points, they're running it up the middle, and they're waiting the next week. I'm going under the 45.5. Make it a damn money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Let's get this money. Week 8, baby. Halfway through.